Microsoft Access module number 3, but we're in session number 2 now. And some of you guys might be sad because this is our last session for Access. It's still all about queries. So in our table of contents, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. And here down in the bottom here, we can see that this is all about session number 2. So I'm going to click on that overview right here, make that baby a little bigger. Here we have our green flashcards, and it's using the query design view, and it's talking about how we can really now ask it a specific question. So we are going to do that with that criteria and use the or. We're also going to put in some conditions inside of here, and it does talk about what a condition is and with a comparison operator in there too. I'm going to click on that and then move forward with defining a record selection criteria. Now, change the word criteria and just think of it as condition. What is the condition that has to be met in order for those records then to be pulled? So if I scroll on down right in here, here we have these comparison operators. A lot of you know the equal sign and the greater than and the less than symbols. I know you guys know those, and greater than or less than or equal to. But this one, many of you guys don't use that one too often, and we will use that when we get to chapter 7 inside of SQL. So when you turn those I call them chompers, this way, it means does not equal to. Now we also have, as I open this one up, what we call wildcards. Let me get this baby open here, and right there down towards the bottom. So a wildcard in SQL uses the like, and a wildcard would be that asterisk. An asterisk means any characters after, where a question mark is one character at a time. All right, let's flip back into Microsoft Access, and I'm still in my module number 3 Lakewood file. Let's create another query, and we're going to do this in the design view. So I'm going to go up to the menu and click Create. In the queries grouping, we're going to click on that design view. Okay, time to add in some of our tables. So we're going to add in the patient table. I'm just going to double click that one, and the visit table. Double click or click on add, and then I'm going to close that one. Move these babies around just to make myself happy, and I always like to expand them so the scroll bar disappears and I can see all of my fields available. All right, so from the patient table, let's bring in last name and first name, and I'm just doing a double click to make it quicker. Phone, address, city, and then email. And then if I messed up, I can just quickly select one, right, and then hit the delete key on that. Okay, from the visit table, we're going to add in the visit ID and the visit date, and then finally the reason. And the design down in here, again, tells you your field name and then tells you what table it comes from. Super nice. Now we know how to run this, no problem, and it would pull all those records that match that. But let's add in a criteria. So if we go to the one down here that says criteria, if it's conditions that are placed on the same line, that's going to be an and. So we're going to just do one condition first. We're going to do Stone Mountain, but first let's go see what a wild card looks like. So I want to pull all of the cities that begin with the letter S. So I'm going to put S and an asterisk, hit my tab key, and Access helps me by putting in the command of like in front of that. So let's go just run that, take a look at what we got, right? So every city that shows begins with an S, so we have 18 records that match. Let's go ahead and flow that into our SQL view just so we can see that. Make sure that oh gosh darn it, it's so hard to do that one. Move this baby over, there we go. All right, you understand select. Watch out for the commas, no comma at the end. We got from, right? And we've talked about that before, which is a join. And we're joining a primary key from one table to the foreign key in another table. No comma at the end. But now here's more to our body because now we have the condition. So the SQL command is where, and it's saying from this table, use this field, and the field records that we're going to pull have to, right, start with S and then bring all the characters after it and then end with a semicolon. All right, look at this. You're reading SQL now. So I'm going to run that again, flip back to design view, get rid of the like, and then I'm going to put in stone mountain, hit my tab key. It puts in the quotes for me, run it. Now I went to just 10 records, and I'm just going to bring that over a little bit bigger so you can see that. And those are the stone mountains. So I'm going to hit save, and we are going to name this one stone mountain patience, and hit OK. And then watch over here, and now that query will show up in our list. All right, modifying a query. Okay. There's one good thing about report writing that we should know is that when we do a query like this, we're going to create a report from it. And in that report, we really would have a title that would say Stone Mountain Patients. We don't want to list Stone Mountain again and again and again and again because that's just a waste of space. So how do I remove city from the query record set? All right, back to the design view. And then right here in city, we hit the check box to remove that from the view. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, see how it's gone now? We're still using it as a criteria, but we don't want to see it in the end result, which is awesome. All right, let's go back to the design view, a little bit more modification. We like this, we want this, but yet the visit ID, we want it to show up in the first column of the query, not way over here. So instead of deleting everything, you can quickly move things around. So I got what I call it's like it's like that field indicator, but it just has that arrow pointing down, and I click, I select it, so I make it black first. And then I click hold on, and when I do that, my mouse changes into that different symbol, and I also get that as I move over to the left, I get that black line. So I'm going to bring the black line to the first position and let go, and now I can move that field very quickly. All right, let's do the visit date and the reason. So I'm going to click hold on, nope, click again, click and drag so that I select two. If you're doing this on your own, it might take you a couple times, right? So I'm going to click off, and then as I click on visit date, I'm going to click hold on, drag over to reason. So both of them are selected, click hold on, and then I can move two at the same time. I don't have to. You can move one at a time. And sometimes, especially in a lot of Microsoft products, it's going to take you a little bit of training and practice to keep clicking and clicking and clicking and to get that mouse to be in that right position. All right, let's run this query, take a look at it. Okay, looks awesome. And then let's go back into SQL again. Okay, so everything looks great, but see the select command? See how these fields now are in a different order? Because the way the command works is it tells grab this one, show it, grab this one, show it, grab this one, show it. So the order is important. They can't just be random. They have to be the way you visually want to see them. And then where, go to this table, find this field equals then that criteria. Okay, let's save that because it's beautiful and go ahead and close it. All right, we're going to make another query, but we're going to do a shortcut way of doing this. So once you have a query and you like it, you can actually like copy and paste and then give it a new name. So let's go ahead and click on Stone Mountain. I'm going to do a right click this time. I know that seems weird, but I'm going to hit copy. And then down in this white area, I'm going to do a right click and then paste. And then it pops it up. It says, do you want this one? Yes, I do, but I'm going to name it earlier visits. And then notice over here how it's going to pop up now. So it's the exact duplicate of the Stone Mountain, and there it is. But now I can make changes to it with keeping the original intact. So I'm going to double click to open it, jump into the design view, and in the visit date criteria, right in here, we're going to say, give us all of the records that are less than January 1st, 2021. Hit my tab key and notice how it puts a little bit of coding around that. Okay, because it knows that it is a serial number, a date type. Let's bring back the city. Let's get rid of Stone Mountain so it pulls all of the records. Okay, and let's go run that. Let's see what we got. Okay, 27 records. It should bring all of those cities up for me. But as I look at that date, right, it all should be, oh, did I do less than? I did. It's less than that 2021. So that's why I see the 2020s in there. Okay, let's save that because that saves the structure. Remember, all the original data is really back in your tables, okay? This is just a quick view of them. All right, let's close this, and we're going to do this again, but we're going to talk about what's the difference between the and versus the or, meaning having two conditions or three or four, all of them have to be met, or two conditions or more than two conditions, and any of them can be met, and then it pulls the record. Now, our ebook, let me jump back to that one, does a really lovely job of this. So I'm just going to go to the table of contents and then scooch on down, and we're right in here, multiple selection criteria. So it's going to talk about the and operator and the or operator. But for us to tell it if it's an and or, it's all about where you place the criteria in that design grid. If they're all on the same row, that means an and. If you put them on different rows, then it means either or. And then they have this lovely image right here on figure 326. See, a same row, or then you put them on different rows. Different rows then mean either one can be selected. Okay. All right, back we go in here, and let's make another one. And the first query we're going to make is using the and. So we go up to create, and it's a query. We're going to go to the design. Let's add in our patient with a double click and the visit with a double click. I'm going to hit close from the patient, and I'm just going to make that bigger. We're going to grab in first name, last name, birthday, phone. Let me go find the phone. Whoops, didn't bring it on down. And then our city. From the visit table, we're going to grab in the visit date and the reason. Okay. Birth date. All right, let's go in here and we're going to put a condition right here that it has to be less than or equal to 12/31/1970. I'm going to hit my tab key because that way it puts the coding in there. And then over to the reason. Now I better spell this right. We want to pull the records that meet influenza and then hit my tab key. Now, if I spelled it right, it means both of these conditions have to be met in order then to pull the record. So let's go ahead and run it, see what we got. We got influenza, which is lovely, and then these dates that should have been less than 1970, and sure enough that they are. All right, let's go take a look at the sequel view, and I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to try to, and scooch this over. Ugh, this baby gets so big, don't it? All right, scooch it over so you can see it. Okay, I know you're good with the first two lines, so let's focus on the where part of the statement. So where? Go to this table, find this field. This field has to be less than or equals to this date. Notice the pound signs, that's coding to help it. And then the kicker is and. Go to this table, find this field has to equal that, and then don't forget the semicolon at the end. So two conditions, both have to be met. If both of them are met, then go ahead and pull that table. All right, let me hit home on this one and back to our data sheet view. All right, we're going to save this with a new name. So we're going to call this one older and flu patience. And hit OK. And let's close that. Next one we're going to do is with the OR operator. So back up to create we go. In the design. Oh, you know what? Let's not do that. Why don't we go and do the cheat sheet way? We're going to make a new query to use the OR criteria, so either one are going to be right. So we're going to take that cheat way of doing again. So we're going to grab onto that older and flu patients, do a right click and copy, go down to the bottom and a right click. Uh-oh, where's my right click now? My right click and paste. There we go. All right, this is going to be older or flu patients. It wants you to name it right away because we're making a copy. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to flip right into that design view. Oh, I am in the design view. I was going to say, wait a minute, that looks a little goofy. All right, in the design view we go. Oops, what's going on here? All right, sorry about that. All of a sudden I was in my design view, had my access was just lagging there a little bit. So there it is. And I went to the design view, so I'm going to close this one, which is the and. I'm going to go back into the OR. I'm going to double click my OR, hit the design view. There we go. Okay, so this is just a copy of the and one, and since the criteria are on both the same row, that means both of them have to be met. But if I take the influenza and I'm going to highlight it and cut it and bring it down one more row and hit paste, now since they're on different rows, it triggers the OR. So pull a record if it's this or any reason, or pull the records that are influenza or any dates. All right, let's run that. Okay, now you see how you see different reasons over here? And then you're going to see different dates over here, but it means either conditions, not every record, but it has to be either condition has to be met on that. All right, let's go take a look at the SQL view. Let me bring this one up a little bit bigger for us so we can read that. Let me scooch it over a little bit. And look at this. It looks like it's the same thing, but the biggest thing is the command right there of or. Either one is met, and then you can pull those, or it will pull those records for us. Back to the data sheet view we get. Okay. Now here comes the fun part. It's your query, and usually you don't really print this query. You're going to make a report off of this query and then run the report. So the formatting only goes so far. And it's not like Excel where you can click one cell, like if this was the active cell, we call this the focus, and then make it blue or green or the background. We can do a little formatting, but it really is an all or nothing. So notice if I change the font size, even though I have Atlanta highlighted, it does everything. If I do the color, I'll go with gray. It does everything. All right, let me go with a purple. Ooh, that's horrible. So I can do a background. Oh my gosh, I have no sense of good taste here, do I? And let me go back up here. You can laugh at me, I don't mind, of a color. So these are kind of fun to play with. And then we also have the grid lines if we want them, and we call these those banded rows. What color do you want for every other color? Now it only will do, I'm going to go to the other one and the other one. I'm going to open up the other ones. It only does the current one you are in. And again, it treats every single record the same.